Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft webinar. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2019. I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft, and our topic for this week is segmenting and searching your data. We're going to learn different search techniques within your database so that you can go back and slice and dice your data any way that you want. So the topics we're going to cover today are quick search, which is in the upper left corner of each of your modules for quickly searching in the module for an account or contact or perhaps an activity type or subject in the activity or in opportunities. The global search, which allows you to search across multiple modules, those modules being the leads, the accounts, and the contacts modules to search for a record in any one of those three modules, so you do not have to go to each one and look for a person or a company. The advanced search, which is under the spyglass button in each of the modules, and it allows you to do different types of searches. One that's called a form search, one that's a standard filter, a time filter, and in the account module, you can also do a product filter. So we will look at the advanced search in quite a bit of detail today and do quite a number of different types of searches there. And then along with the advanced search, one of the advantages to using it is once you've created a filter or a search, you can save it and give it a name so that you can then quickly pull up that saved filter as a view, what we call a view in ClaritySoft. And you can create as many views as you would like for different types of way to see your list. And then after you've done all these different searches and saved all these different views, I will give you some tips and ideas on how to use them within the database to move from one place to another, to send emails, do all kinds of different things so that all these searches that you're doing become truly useful to you within ClaritySoft. As I mentioned each week, Zoom meeting does have a Q&A panel. If you have a question while I'm talking, please type your question in that Q&A panel and I will do my best to answer it. I may not get to it right away. I might save it for later, so don't panic if I'm not answering it immediately. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Here is my ClaritySoft database. And I'm in the accounts module, as you can see. And then across the top of the screen up here, and this is true in all the modules, you have these same search or filter features at the top. This box here is the quick search box. This is our spyglass, which includes the advanced search, global search. We'll talk about these two, and then views. Then this is a list of the different views that have been created and saved. These are ones that come with the database, and then you can create and save your own, and they get added to this list, and then you may pick from them when you want them. The other way to search in here is to search on your users, and if you want to, you can choose a particular user, including yourself, to see the user records for that selected person or persons. It will default, if you have an access profile of all records, it will default to seeing all the users. And then unless you select a specific user. And the access profile determines what you can see in the database. It's possible you may see only your own records, depending on how you are set up in the database, or it's possible you may see all user records, or you may see just a few people because perhaps your admin has set you up in a group where within the group you can see each other's records but not everyone else's. So that depends on how things are set up by your admin user. And then this is a refresh button to refresh your data. If you've done a filter, this will maybe refresh it if it needs refreshed. And then the list all will bring you back to the full list of records according to what you do have selected here, okay? So we'll see that as we go along. At the bottom of the screen, ClaritySoft will always tell you how many records you're currently viewing. So after you do some type of a search, then it will tell you that you're seeing 17 records or 25 or 150. So after you have set up a search or filter of some sort, you always want to glance down here and just look at that number, because you probably know your data well enough to say, yes, we do have approximately that many customers or approximately that many prospects. If you seem to be missing some, then you want to go back and check your fields and make sure that data is filled in. And you can see here on this type field that not all of my records have a type defined. So that means if I search on prospect, they're not going to show up. If I search on customer, they're not going to show up. No matter what search I do, other than for blank ones, it's not going to show up, so I will get inaccurate lists. So one of the really, really important things to remember in your database and to stress with all your users is to fill in the data for these category type fields so that when you are doing your searching, you are coming up with accurate lists of information and people aren't getting lost because the data hasn't been filled in. That's one of the big, big things about maintaining a database, is that your data is accurate and up to date. Okay, so with that, let's look at the quick search first, because that's pretty quick and easy. If I wanted to find a specific account in the database, I'm definitely not going to scroll through 16 pages of records to find it. And if you have more than 300 records in your database, which you probably do, so the quick search is designed for you to be able to type in part of a company name, and then it will search and match all the records for that set of characters that you type. So let's say I know in here somewhere I have some companies with the word global in them, but I don't remember exactly the company name. So I'm simply going to type GLOB. And then I can just wait a few seconds and ClaritySoft does an automatic search. I didn't do anything but type GLOB. And after a second or two, ClaritySoft does the search for me. Notice it came up with Global Chemical, Global Airways, and Alliance Global Investors. So my GLOB, the characters that I typed, do not necessarily have to be at the beginning of the name of the company. It can be anywhere in the company name. So that's why this one shows up, because GLOB is in there, but it's anywhere in the word. So you simply go to that. If I was looking for Global Airways, I could then open the record, or I could click here and add an activity, whatever I wanted to do. I have found the record that I wanted to find, and I now work with it and do what I want to do with it. Once I'm finished, to clear the filter, I simply click this little X, and it will clear out what I typed and bring back my complete list. So very simple, type it. That time I pressed enter, so you can see it's a little bit faster. If you type and then press enter, the computer's not sitting there waiting to see if you're going to type another character for a second or two. So simply type, press enter, and now I have get a move on removals and Leggett, where GET is in the middle of Leggett. So you might find some interesting words in the middle of other words as you type these searches to find it. And you can kind of see that less is better when you're typing. If you're really not sure how to spell the word, the name of the company, because maybe you don't know if there's a hyphen in it or something like that, don't type those things. Just type what you know and see what you come up with. Once you come up with something, then you can begin to hone your list down until you find it. So that's your quick search. That quick search is in all of your modules, and you can use it for searching for accounts, contacts, and then usually something specific to do with the opportunity or activities. The other search that you can use this for in the accounts module is for a phone number. If you're looking for a particular phone number, maybe an area code or something like that, then all you have to do is click in here and type 614, let's say, and I'm going to get all of the phone numbers with 614 in them. Now again, notice I'm getting it with 614 in the exchange, not the area code. The rest of these are in the area code, and I found 34 records, okay? Now, this brings up a really good point of putting your data into ClaritySoft. People always ask me this question: how should they put the phone number in? You want to decide what way to put it in and then be consistent so that everyone is typing the phone numbers in the same format. Currently, the phone field in ClaritySoft does not format your numbers for you. It's just a text field, so you can type the phone numbers any way you need, and that's in order to accommodate international numbers and things like that. So if you decide to type parentheses around area codes, a space, and then the number and a hyphen here, then be consistent all the time. Probably the easiest way to do it is to use the hyphens, because the user then does not have to use the shift key. It's type a number, type the hyphen, type the numbers, and so on and so forth. Some people are getting to the point of typing just one great big number with no spacing, nothing, and that gets, I don't know, to me visually it's hard to read the number, but you'll have to decide. If you do this format, I can eliminate this issue here with finding a 614 in the exchange and not the area code by coming up here. If I want the 614 exchange, I would do it this way. Then I only find that, okay? Now, if I'm doing just the 614 area code, it becomes a little trickier because this 614 also has a hyphen after it, so you might not be able to eliminate that one. But you can see then that you can do things where if you wanted to find an exchange of some sort, you type a hyphen in front of it, and then you would find that part of the number. So just be aware of that. It makes, if you want to search on phone numbers, I don't know how often you would do that, but just keep that in mind for formatting phone numbers, that if they're consistent, you can do searches on it, all right? And then just a quick look, if I jump to opportunities, let's say, in the quick search here, you are able to look up by the account, the contact, or part of a name of an opportunity. So for example, if I wanted to find all my opportunities for Abbott Laboratories, I simply type Abbott in and I can see I have a whole lot of opportunities. I have 22 of them, okay, with Abbott Laboratories. Or I can type, and this is another technique you can use. You could click the X to go back to all of them, or I can simply drag across here, and let's say I want to type Patrick as a name of a contact. So I can take out the text and just type the next thing that I want. I don't have to click the X to clear it, and it just automatically goes. So I can look up by a contact person's first or last name, and I can also look up, I'll clear this one out just so you see. If I type in part of the word equipment, then it's searching on the subject line, okay? Now it also may pull in a company with the word equipment in the name of the company, all right? So it will find equipment. So it looks in all three of these to find what you're looking for. And so all the modules are that way, where if you're in contacts, you can type either the company name or the person name. Quotes, you can do the same thing you do here in opportunities. So you can use the quick search just as it says for a quick search to accomplish it. All right. Next one I want to cover is under the Spyglass menu, and it's the global search. The global search is designed to allow you, the user, to search in multiple modules. Because I started in the accounts module, when I get to the global search, the checkbox for include accounts is automatically checked. If I also want to include leads and contacts, then I click in the other checkboxes. And then this time, if I use my global, again, I can type it and then press enter. And now you're seeing I'm getting Alliance Global Investors as an account, which we saw. I'm getting Harry Buchanan as a contact at Alliance Global Investors and Lisa Perry. So it's finding all of my records that have global. So it's finding the same ones we saw before, but it's also bringing up the contact people. Also notice here that it says Global Airways is a lead. Well, what this means is that Global Airways was probably a lead and is still in the leads module, but it was converted to create an account, okay? And if we went to look at that record, it would say it's been converted. So once you're here, you can see information about it, a phone number, who the owner is, which might be important to you because perhaps you met somebody from Alliance Global Investors and you're trying to see if they're already in the database. And if they are, then who is the salesperson that's working with them? Because you may want to go talk to that person. So this is kind of a way to check before you enter a new account or a new lead to see if that company is already in ClaritySoft and prevent you from, maybe stepping in where and double contacting somebody. Also, the other way this is very useful is if you are a user in the database and can see only your own records, not anyone else's, you definitely want to use the global search to search for a new company that you've come across to make sure that no one else, it doesn't belong to anyone else, because in the global search you will see those other records and the person who is the owner. So that's the purpose of the global search. And you can access it from any module, any of these three modules here. So if I wanted to see the details on this, I can click to see details as to when it was created, when it was last edited. The last touch date here was 2016. Now, I last edited in February, but I haven't done anything with it since 2016. So maybe, somebody's let it slide and you can say, oh, hey, I'm going to go check on that. And then the go button here will take you to the record so that you can see the record in the database and then see all the activities and things like that that go with it. So it's a nice way to search, especially if you can't see everything in the database, you can check it out. And like I said, if you go to leads module, and you may or may not be using the leads module, it is optional. So if you're not using the leads module, then you can search in accounts and contacts. But you can see you have global search here. It now has leads checked, and then you can say, well, I want you to include this and this. And if I do, I'll do the GET again. So it should pull up my two companies. There we go. So in this case, because I'm looking in contacts as well as accounts and leads, I got Thomas Blodgett and Lynn Blodgett. There's Get a Move On. Get a Move On was a lead, okay? And then here's a contact for it. So I came up with one more additional couple of records because the contact name has GET in it. So you can see how it can be useful to you. All right. So that's kind of a quick search as well, just expanded across multiple modules. Moving on. to advanced search. This is where you start to get into being able to do more sophisticated, multi-level kinds of searches, which is what a database is really wonderful for. You know, back in the old dinosaur days where we had to put things in file folders and stick them in a file cabinet, the big decision was, well, how do we organize it? Do we organize it alphabetically by the company name? Do we organize it by, you know, the type of business it is, and then alphabetically by company? Do we organize it by what state it's in, and then by the company name? How do we organize it? And then somebody would say, well, can you find all of the companies that, you know, are in this particular city or in this particular state? If you haven't organized them by state, then you had to go through all of the folders and look at each one individually. So in a database, that's not a problem. You just say, I want to find everybody in Ohio, I want to find everybody in New York, and it finds it. So this is the advantage of using the database, because it just gives you all kinds of ways to pull your data out. And one of the things when you're first setting up ClaritySoft is to make those decisions. What are the category type fields that we need or want, because we want to be able to search by this? We want to be able to search by the type or status of the company. Is it a prospect? Is it a customer? What market segment are they in, or industry are they in? What territory are they in? All these kinds of things. And if you've gone through Quick Start, then you know that Linda and I start asking you all these million questions about, well, how do you want to search your data? Because we want you to be able to put in fields and be able to pull it up that way. And so that's why we ask you those questions. Now, before I start doing a search in here, right now I'm only seeing account, company, phone type, and owner. If I wanted to search on city or state or some other category type field, I want to add it to my columns. Because when I do that search, I want to look at the results in that column and make sure that, yep, that's the information that I wanted, and confirm it. Otherwise, you're kind of flying blind and trusting that the computer did the right thing or that you did the right thing in the search. So first of all, you're going to come over here to the vertical ellipsis button in the upper right, click on it, and go to column settings. And then I'm going to pull over. I want to see city. What else do I have down here? And again, you will have different fields than I do, so don't worry about what you're seeing here. Sector. What else do I have? I want to bring state over. I think that's probably good enough. And then down at the bottom here, you have a results per page. The default is 20 records per page. You may change it to up to 100, either 50 or 100. I like to have the 100 simply because then on a page, I can scroll more records. So you can see I can go down more. Not that it's that important, but sometimes it is. I just like it. So that's up to you. But now you can see we have a type, we have a sector, we have city, state, product interest. All these things now give us more information about each account record here. So visually, I can see what sector they're in, I can see their city and their state. Now I can start to do some kinds of searches. So for example, let's say I wanted to find just all my customers, first of all, okay? So I'm gonna go to Advanced Search. And in the Advanced Search, you will notice you have these 4 tabs: Form Filter, Standard Filter, Time Filter, and Product Filter, okay? And we're gonna go through each one of these. Form filter is probably the easiest one to use because all you have to do is go to a field and put some criteria in here to search on. So I said I wanted to find customers. Well, that's in my type field. All I have to do is go here, click in customer to select it, and then click search. So now in my type column, I should only see the word customer. And down at the bottom, I can see that I have 74 customers out of my 300 total records. Now, that may or may not be true because some of my type fields were empty. So that's where you would know, oh, shoot, we should have, over 100 customers. Why are we missing 30? And then you need to go back and fix the ones that don't have the data filled in, okay? So up here now, what we have, whenever you do an advanced search in red, it will tell you that you're in advanced search view, which means you have a filter turned on, and you have 3 buttons. You can edit the view that you might want to make a change, add another criteria to it. You can save the view, or you can cancel it or clear it. Well, let's say this, I want to be able to very quickly bring up my customer list so I don't have to go through the steps again. So I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to give it a name. And save it. So what now occurs is ClaritySoft has put this into the drop-down list of views. So it is permanently here until I decide I want to delete it, which I can do. So I can easily now go to all my accounts, which is 312. Or I can say, well, I just want to work with customers today. Where's my customer list? Okay. And that has 74. Now, somebody's probably going to ask me the question, what happens if I add a new customer? Does it update automatically? Yes, it does. So for example, if I go back here, and I'm going to click here to find a blank one. So here's a bunch of ones. See, I have all these that don't have a type, so those are all missing from a list. So let's just say that Insulated Company just became a customer. So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to set the type to customer. And I'm also going to put the sector in here since it's not in here, and say there, manufacturing. And if I know the product interest, these are those category fields that you create as custom fields. So you want to make sure, again, while you're in your record, is to make sure those are all filled in. So maybe they're interested in all of these. Okay. Then I'm going to do a save and close. So now when I go back to choosing the customer list, Insulated Company will now be in that list because I set the type to customer. And the view really is a filter. So every time you run the filter, it picks up all of the new records that now match the criteria for that filter. Okay. I had early time. My close was not working earlier. It saved it, but it's not closing it. So if I look up, or if I go to customer list, and I scroll down, well, actually, I'm sorted by type. If I come over here and sort by account, there's Insulated Company anyway. One will do a Z to A and one will do A to Z. So you just click to get it. But if I scroll down, I will see my Insulated Company in here. Where are they? Farther. Here we are, right here. So they are now part of this list of customers, and I now have 75 records in the list. So anytime you're updating a record to match the criteria of what you've selected up here, then you will get the updated list. All right. Now, let's say I want to find all of the manufacturers that are in Ohio. So I'm setting two criteria now. They have to be manufacturing sector and the state of Ohio. So both of these have to be true in order to find it. So now you can see I get 10 records. The sector's manufacturing, the state is Ohio. And again, if I decide I want to save the view, I can type Ohio manufacturers. Now, it's possible you might not want to save a view, but you want to create ones that you're going to use often. And create them, save them, and then it's very easy to pick from the list. All right? And then you can go back to your complete list at any time. Then you can create using the standard filter, and the standard filter allows you to set different levels of filtering. Looks a little more cryptic, okay? But what you do is you click here and you select the field that you want to search on, and then you'll enter the criteria. And then you can create what are called OR situations. It can either be an AND or an OR. So for example, if I wanted to find everybody who was in the state of Ohio or the state of Pennsylvania, then I can't do that in the form filter because I can only type in one state at a time. I'd have to do an Ohio list and then I'd have to do a Pennsylvania list. But here I can do it in one filter. So I'm going to say state, and then you get these comparisons. You have equal, not equal, greater than or equal to, less than and less than or equal to, contains, so on and so forth. Well, rather than do equal, I'm going to do contains. Equal means it has to be an exact match of whatever you type, and if somebody in your database typed OHIO rather than OH, then the equal won't pull up the OHIOs if you type it's equal to OH. So if you put contains and then put OH, it will pull up everything. All right? So I always like to use that. And then if I want another level, I click the plus sign, and then I get to choose here, and or. In this case, I want it or, and I want state contains. I'm not sure if I have any Pennsylvanias in here. We'll see. Yep. So I have Ohio and Pennsylvania. So again, maybe you're going to be traveling and you're going to hit Ohio and Pennsylvania, so you want a list with those two listed. And then again, once I've done this, if I click on the state column, I can sort by Ohio. And see here, look at that. 4 of them where it's not OH, it's OHIO. Okay, so if I had done equal, those 4 would not have shown up. And count on people not being consistent in the database. That's another thing to talk about when you're setting up your database. Don't type the full state name. I would recommend always using the 2-letter abbreviation. It's easier and quicker for people as long as they know them. And then you won't have inconsistencies like this in the database. Now, one of the things I could do right here, and this goes to another topic I wanted to show you later, called Group Edit. Let's say, all right, I found these 4 Ohios that are wrong. I'm going to click in the check boxes for the 4 Ohios, and then I'm going to go to List Actions, Group Edit, all records marked as checked, and then I'm going to select State. And then I'm going to make it OH, click Apply, and they will all get changed. This is a great feature in ClaritySoft to do updates to things, to be able to edit the same field in multiple records all at once. So there they are. They're all fixed. Okay. So that's a real quick way. That was kind of jumping to another topic we were going to cover later. Again, if I wanted to save the view, we could say Ohio and PA list. And we didn't do any other criteria on that. We just, they're just the records. We didn't, oh, can't use the ampersand. All right. See the things you learn. Ampersands are, because this is HTML, usually aren't able to be used in field names and other places in the database. You've probably already discovered that. Okay, so that's doing that one. Let me go back to all accounts. Another field I want to bring up here is the creation date. So I'm going to go to my column settings, and I can bring up creation date. Because what I want to do, I want to find all of the accounts that were created last year. Now my data, you can see that a lot of them are really, really old. So your data would be much newer. So you might have a whole bunch of accounts that were created last year, or you could do all the ones created this year, just to see, well, how many new accounts are we entering in here, you know, per month, per week, you know, up to this point, year to date, that kind of thing. And that's where that time filter comes in. So if I want to do that, I'm again, Spyglass, Advanced Search, and then I go to the Time Filter tab. So this one, what you do here is you're going to select a date type field. Okay, and it'll have a list of even your custom ones that are here, but I'm using creation date. And then I have all these different choices down here. Date range, you won't necessarily use this unless you absolutely want to fix in a date range that never changes. Year to date will do from January through June, and as soon as we hit July, it'll keep going through the whole year. And you know, at the end of the year, it would go through December 31st. So you could do year to date, or you could say this today, how many do we bring in? This week, this month, this quarter, this year. And it could be, you know, 2 months. I want 2 months of new accounts being created. You could do the last 2 months, okay? This 2 months would include the month we're in. So 2 months would be May and June, all right? The last 2 months would be April, May. And then in July, it would be May, June. So obviously we can't create things into the future, all right? So these are all here for you to select from. And the nice thing about the time filters is they roll forward. So if we say we want all of the records created this year, it's going to do everything for this year. And this is equivalent to year to date. I could do either one. But then I can see now, here's my creation date field. So these are the ones that have been created this year. Okay. Now, if I wanted to change this, I could go to the time filter. And I could make it last year. So this would go back to 2018. How many new records were created last year? So now I can see all of my creation dates are 2018. So again, you can set up different views or filters and then say, well, how are we doing? How many new account records are we creating on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, that sort of thing. And then even these filters like this can be used in reports. So all of the searching and things that you're doing in the list, in the database itself, can be applied. The same filters can be applied to a report that you design to pull up a list. What are all the accounts that we created in the last month or the last 2 months? And what the account name and the location and any information that you want to pull in and what sector they're in. So not only can you have kind of a report on the screen, you can create a report that goes into an Excel spreadsheet. So use, whatever you're using your filters for is, working. Okay, so that's using the time filters. Those can be really, really helpful to you to search. And then the last one on the advanced filter, and again, this you may not be using. If you are using the price book in ClaritySoft and you're creating opportunities and quotes and sales records with products in them, then you can use the product filter. And what this allows you to do, this is only available in the accounts module under advanced search, but it lets you search for specific product items, which when you click on it, pulls those over here, or group items. And groups are the categories that you've put into your price book. Okay, so you can search for all of the machines that you've sold or all of the widgets. Or you can go with specific products that you have sold to your customers. And then you can say match any criteria, match all criteria. And then down here you choose, well, what module do you want to search in? Do you want to look in your sales module if you're using it? Maybe you're not. Do you want to look in quotes? That would tell you which products you've quoted to people. Or in opportunities, if you're using that, what products have you included in your opportunities? So I'm going to do sales, and then I'm going to say I want to find just those that purchase the standard widgets. Okay, so I click in that, and then I search, and it's going to pull up a list of all the accounts who have purchased a widget. Now there's no time on this, okay? So this is going to go back through all history of, whenever they purchased it. Now you can also, actually, I'm not 100% sure this will work because I haven't tested it. It just occurred to me. We might want to say, no, because this is not going to look at the sale record. This is only going to look at the account record. But perhaps we could do a creation date of the last 2 years. We'll see what we get. So this is basically saying that I am searching for all the people who bought the widget, the standard widget, whose account records were created in the last 2 years. So you could do that because you can set different criteria on different tabs in here. You can have one set of criteria on the form filter, something else on the standard filter, and something else on the time filter. So play with that because, again, once you set those up and that works the way you want to save it for yourself. All right? Now, views. One of the questions that tends to come up is, can I delete a view after I've created it? You know, can I do things with it? Yes. Under the spyglass, you go to views, and this will list all of the views, the ones that are built in, which I don't necessarily recommend deleting unless you want to, and then the ones that you've created. So here are the things you can do with it. You could rename it, give it a different name. You can edit it to set up different criteria in it. Cloning means you will copy it, and then you could save it with a different name and then edit it to change the criteria. Delete it allows you to delete it. And then this one is nice because you can share it. So if you become the star filter person, creating all kinds of cool filters, you can say, all right, well, now that I've created this, I want to share it with these people because they will use it. And then once you share it, when that person logs out and logs back in and goes to this list here, that person will see those views that you have shared here. And then the other nice thing to protect it is when they go to here to views and there's a view that you've shared with them, they cannot edit it. It says it's a shared view. So they cannot delete it. They cannot edit it in any way. You are the owner. You are the creator. So you're the only one that has control over it. And then the other thing you can do too is you can set a view as your default so that when you log into ClaritySoft, it goes immediately to your customer list. Maybe that's all you work with are the customers. Somebody else works with the prospects. So you can create a view that becomes your default view. All right. Now, what can you do with these? Let's go here to Ohio manufacturers. So I have 10 records here. I've filtered the list. Let's say that I want to send them an email. Well, I can't email from accounts. So I need to get from this list of accounts to contacts to be able to send an email. The way that I do that is I come over here and I click in the checkbox to select all the records. I go to list actions and I have view contacts and view activities. So I go to view contacts. I'm going to do all records marked as checked, click apply. And ClaritySoft takes me to the contacts module and it lists all of the people associated with those selected accounts. This is really nice because you can do this in the other modules too. You can go to opportunities and you can select, you know, you could filter in your opportunities and then select them and then you could view contacts or you can view accounts. So there are a lot of little shortcuts under the list actions. You want to pay attention to the list actions because they act upon a list. And now what I can do is I can say, well, I want to email all these people. So, or if I don't want to email certain ones, this guy doesn't have an email address, so he's not going to get anything anyway. So I could just uncheck him, but ClaritySoft is not going to put him in to begin with. But you can randomly check people or you can select them all. You go to list actions, email contacts. Again, it's all records marked as checked because it's less than the 100 per page. And I have a list of all my people. Down here it tells me how many records, which is right, it's 9. And then I have my email form. And I can type an email. I could maybe put in, you know, product update or something like that. And then I can type my email. And in order to individually address each of these, you can type the word hello, click on insert fields, pull in the first name, or pull in the salutation field, whichever one you use. Notice you have other fields available as well. Click OK, and then type your email. And in the interest of time, I'm going to do my garbage typing. but I type my email, whatever I want to say, and when I'm ready, click send, and off it goes. So that's how you can use that to filter at the account level, do list actions to view contacts, and then select them and then do an email. The other thing is if you wanted to do a group edit like we did, you can filter and then you can select records and do a group edit. So those are all different things that you can do. The other thing you might want to do with a list is you might want to export it out to Excel. So you could filter, let me go back to accounts. Actually, let me do this one. This one might be interesting to do. I'm going to go to opportunities. And in opportunities, I'm going to go to advanced search. And this will show you a little bit different way to use the standard filter. I'm going to choose the amount field. And then I'm going to say, well, I want to search for all my opportunities that have an amount or value greater than or equal to $50,000. Okay, so this can be used if the field is numeric, then you can use the greater than or less than. Okay, so that's what I want to do here. And I could also set a time filter where the close date, I'll just say, is this year. Again, because I know my data is kind of old. So I'm looking for any opportunities where the value of it is greater than 50,000. So 50,000 or greater. So that's there. And the close date is sometime in 2019. Okay, so here's some from March that probably need to be dealt with. Now, maybe I want to do an export out to Excel. So I can select these, list actions, export to Excel. The record's marked as checked. And then ClaritySoft is going to give you a list of all the fields that you can send out. So right now it's already got account, contact, opportunity name, product, stage, amount, lead source. If there are any custom fields in here that you want, then you can drag those over to put them in. I don't have anything terribly exciting here. And then I can click apply. So, you know, if you want something else, you drag it over. If something you don't want, you drag it to the left. This field I don't need because I know that one's, well, actually I'm going to leave that there. And then click apply. Now we'll see if this works because I've found with the Zoom meeting, there it is, it did work. Sometimes the Excel file doesn't come up. So there it is, and there's my list. So you can export data from any module out by filtering, selecting, list actions, export to Excel. And then you can do what you want with that file. You can then save it and work with it. So that's another function to do. And then the group edit, again, for one of the things we talked about is updating records. Real quick, let's say I go back to all my accounts, and one of the things you want to do is hide and update types and sectors. So you want to find all the blank ones so that you can go through and fill in them. So again, I'm going to do advanced search, and I need to go to the standard filter, and I'm going to find all of the sectors where it is empty. And that will bring up all of the records with the blank sector. And I have 223 out of 300 records, so this is pretty bad in here, okay? Now what you do is you know what your different sectors are, so you can kind of go along over here on the left, and I'm going to work on transportation. So I'm going to say these guys are transportation. I know these guys are transportation. And this might take you a while. You might be able to get it down to something else too. But, and this is why you want the 100 showing. I'll stick them in transportation, even though they're not necessarily. Here's Sandpiper Air. So you get the picture. You go down and you click on all the ones that fit the category or the sector that you're looking for. Go to List Actions, Group Edit, and then select Sector, and then choose the category and apply. Watch Sandpiper Air. There it goes. I think my mouse sometimes doesn't click right. So notice that Sandpiper Air and all of them disappeared. The reason is the filter that I have turned on is that the sector field must be blank or empty. So as soon as I fill it with something, it goes away. All right, so don't panic that you've lost your records. It's because of the filter, okay? So, and I'm down to 217 records. Now, if I turn off the filter and I look up Sandpiper, you'll see that it has been set to transportation sector, okay? So if you do something like that where you're updating the records and you search on the blank fields, then you want to, don't panic when they disappear. All right, I think we've covered all our topics for today. I just wanted you to know all of these, so let's get back to finishing up. We're at the end of our time. So first of all, thanks for everybody coming and listening. Hopefully you learned some good techniques today for searching, and you'll be able to use them in your own database. If you need any help with any of this or you have any questions, first of all, you can go out to our support portal and look out there under searching in ClaritySoft Live, or if you're really, really stuck, you can call tech support at 888-838-7487 extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com. If you're working with either myself or Linda in your quick start process, then you can talk with us and we'll be happy to help you. New ideas for future webinars, please send them to info@claritysoft.com, or critiques on the webinars as you listen to them. Be happy to take on any suggestions for improvement. All right, with that, thank you very much for being here today. I will let you go and go have a wonderful rest of the day.